Or we could make love, not war.
I tried that once.
Or we have an election.
I had to go to a doctor.
Right. Election, yeah.
No, elections don't work. We know that. We know they don't work.
They do work.
Look what we have. Look what we have.
But
we had a moderate president, and we have crime exploding everywhere. We had a Democrat president promise that he was going to be moderate, promise that he was going to unite the country, and now we have a terrible education system, we have no border, we have crime everywhere. Every facet of society is in peril and in chaos because our elections don't matter.
And by the way, the world is waiting, the world is watching. They are waiting and watching what we're going to do. We can't continue to let petty partisan politics get in the way of our responsibility. We're a great nation. It's not acting like a great nation. So I'm calling on Congress to pass this bill, get it to my desk immediately. But if the bill fails, I want to be absolutely clear about something. The American people are going to know why it failed. I'll be taking this issue to the country, and the voters are going to know that it's not just a moment, just at the moment, we're going to secure the border and fund these other programs. Trump and the MAGA Republicans said no.
I want to talk about the reality for millions of Americans.
Equity and not equality, I might add. What is it all about?
It's very much class warfare, Gary. It's all about trying to sow division between various groups in American society and ultimately making everyone a dependent of the all-powerful federal government.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott seen here releasing a flock of doves to poop on migrant children.
Arrest the governor of Texas? 100% they would. They would arrest Dan Patrick. They would do a whole RICO case. The federal government would come in, and some people would say, well, that's the seeds of a civil war. Is that what you want? Where does this end? By the way, I'm all on board. If we had an actual governor of Texas that was willing, 100% defy that.
Which is quintessentially fascist, so that you have in a fascist state, you have the government working with private entities in order to enforce an ideological lockstep, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. The idea is to shame Americans who have succeeded and to enforce what is frankly also a Marxist agenda of economic leveling by the confiscation of wealth, which is essentially theft.
We are decidedly not preaching un-Americanism or anything basically new. We have an Asiatic Exclusion Act, Jim Crow laws, and a complicated system of immigration quotas, differentiating even between the various white peoples. It has then always been very much American.
MAGA is arming, and they've been doing it for years.
The White House out of order, stopping Texas from defending its border.
Installing razor wire under the surface of the Rio Grande and circular saw blades between the buoys.
What happens when federal agents try to destroy border fencing and state troopers stand in their way? Does Biden send in the military at that point? These might not be hypothetical questions for long. The last Civil War was unimaginable until it wasn't.
Next, he's going to change the poem on the Statue of Liberty from "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free" to
"Would you like to play a game?"
Other people might sell freedom short, but that's not going to be me. So.
And in reality, what does that mean? Taking on people, shooting people? I mean, what does that mean?
Possibly could. If it comes to that, that could be an outcome.
And actually, in most cases, not because they have been the victims of racism or something of that kind, but simply because they haven't worked and are already accustomed to the idea of being dependent upon the government.
And the thing is, the Supreme Court can't enforce its own rulings. So once red states decide not to go along with them, if the red states say, okay, I don't care what you think, we're going to do it anyway, what happens then? What happens when federal agents try to destroy border fencing and state troopers stand in their way? Does Biden send in the military at that point?
They're going to take your guns, go out and buy one now. That's how it began. But now, they're just straight up saying, it's time for a civil war.
The election and the COVID restrictions have proved fertile ground for these militia to grow and recruit. The challenges they pose are going to be troubling America long after the polls close.
Grandpa Joe even told them to surge to the border, like it was a new slogan for Taco Bell.
The United States of America, you've heard me say it many times, there's nothing beyond our capacity if we do it together. We're right on the verge of doing it together. I hope and pray they find reason to reconsider blowing this up. May God bless you all. May God protect our troops.
But a few governors are fighting back. Texas Gov Greg Abbott and Florida Gov Ron DeSantis have been doing a great job of sending illegal aliens from border states to states whose policies have Americans fleeing to, well, Texas and Florida.
White Christian nationalism has been brewing in this country for many, many years.
Said, I don't want a secession, I don't want a civil war, I don't want to dissolve the country. But the left knows they're putting all of us in a position to where we have a hijacked federal government. We have to have the states pull out of the union and then have another convention and then reconstitute it again and have the states basically impeach the hijacked federal government. And that's in the Declaration of Independence. It's not just our right, it's our duty. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat.
And I know in your book you contend that the left has gradually implemented a strategy over the years to transform the nation. This isn't a recent development here, is it? Tell us more, and why now?
This all began really in the 1960s. You can actually even trace it to far before that. But in the 1960s, it really picked up speed with the anti-war, anti-Vietnam War movement.
Now, Abbott is fighting for his right to defend his state from this ongoing invasion at the southern border. In a statement from yesterday, Abbott said the federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states.
Well, it's like a wise man once said, you can be the most worthless Republican in America, but if you kiss the ring, he'll say you're wonderful.
At the heart of America is a reality written into our Constitution.
Yeah, that was a lot of words, huh?
Which made Trump so angry he almost ripped off the safety rails on his toilet.
Ding, 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 ding. Ping, boom.
White males who also own land are the only people who have any rights under our original Constitution. They know they can never have that. So they're calling for a civil war.
If you're in a Defy, here's how it works. Press conference flanked by your most loyal Texas Rangers. I'm ignoring the Supreme Court's decision. I will enforce the border of Texas. If you're going to arrest me, you have to go through the Texas Rangers.
We watched them preparing, they said, for civil war. Several Boogaloos have been arrested across a string of states accused of plotting violent attacks.
Think of those rubber things you put down at the supermarket checkout that separates your Wonder Bread and mayo from the guy behind you with rice, beans, and pig knuckles.
Now, I know if you're watching still, you might think that I'm talking to all these liberals out here that obviously have no idea what that would entail.
But it is increasingly now, as all these groups begin to try to tighten their grip and crush dissent, that Americans are waking up to it and realizing that we have to fight back now.
And if you don't think that's important, then listen to Democrats bitch about cultural appropriation. Huh? Yeah, they say, you all can come over here, sleep in our schools and airports, but you better not wear a sombrero on Cinco de Mayo. Hoping to replace Don't Mess with Texas with Bend Over for Biden.
Instead, you do what Texas is doing. You dig in, you fight, you hold the line, and you never give in when our national security is constantly being threatened by the traitorous actions of the executive branch. Stand with Texas, hold the line, and never back down.
In order to protect our freedoms, which are gravely in peril.
But that's not what this video is about. I'm talking to MAGA. I'm talking to Trump tards. I'm talking to all those fucking idiots who want a civil war.
And now some are calling for Texas to secede from the U.S. And they have the experience. Texas was its own country back in the 1800s when it was founded by ZZ Top.
Now, obviously, you're not going to last 5 minutes against the 10th Mountain Division. You're going to get annihilated. You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Are we on the brink of another civil war? Or will Grandpa Joe just take a pill and a nap and forget he ever abdicated his oath of office in the first place? One thing's for sure, this ain't just about Texas. Once illegal aliens get into the country, they can go just about anywhere they want. Do states have rights? The president a king. When you're a Democrat, it all depends on who's in power.
God bless America.
You think the army's going to be on y'all's side? They didn't swear allegiance to Trump. They swore allegiance to the Constitution.
Could this end up devolving into yet another civil war like the one you loved so much when it first happened?
Is this more proof that the federal government wants to flood our country with illegal aliens?
The Border Patrol Union has come out and said the bill is better than the status quo. Does that affect your thinking on this?
Understand that they're desperate for measures that will assist, okay?
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
And guess what? We wrote all that other bullshit out. We have civil rights now, yo. I know you don't like it, but you have no idea what the fuck y'all are talking about.
These are not muscle guys here, they're muscle guys up here, right? Missile launch, pshing, boom.
I guess Phil Collins was right about those illegal aliens.
I can knock the sword out of a king's hand on a fucking playing card at 700 yards. Can you?
I don't have a Taylor Swift on our side, but you know who we have? We have Kid Rock, we have Ted Nugent, we have influencers, right? We have all these people, John Voight.
Yeah, we may not have puppies and ice cream, but we have a 3-year-old calendar and a Ziploc bag full of toenail clippings.
I don't think you people have any idea what the fuck you're talking about. Republicans never served. I served my country, and I grew up in Texas. I know how to hit my target. Do y'all?
Texas and America heading towards a divorce, much like the one you experienced?
Storming the United States. When you talk about insurrection, what they're doing, that's the real deal. That's the real deal, not patriotically and peacefully.
Trump's mob wasn't a peaceful protest. It was a violent assault.
I know you think you do, but you don't. You people don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
To watch these equity hires kill themselves trying to take down barbed wire. Hearing a grown man complaining about his stiletto heels are killing him while he's cutting this and no one's holding his Yorkie is going to be hilarious. Understand who's been working for the federal government. 4 hours later, they are also the first person to die of asphyxiation by cutting these wires.
On the third day, God created the Remington bolt-action rifle so that man could fight the dinosaurs and the homosexuals. Amen.
Quickly, Robert, do you believe civil war is unavoidable, or can we reverse course?
I believe it's very much avoidable at this point, but the left is pushing for it. For example, with the drag queens and primary schools and things like that, the idea is we either accept it, sit back and go along, in which case we've lost our children and lose our culture, or we fight back in a way that they can say, see, these people are terrorists.
There's not going to be a civil war, per se. The whole damn thing will be over in a week. My God, if it takes that long. The shittiest little National Guard unit in this country would wipe out every AR-15 owner in a matter of hours if they were on the same field.
continue to speak out and remember that every one of us has to become an activist now. Nobody is going to do this for us. If we want to defend our freedoms, we all have to stand up.
Okay, the book is Sumter Gambit, How the Left is Trying to Foment a Civil War.
And if you really think that you people have a snowball's chance in hell against hardcore Democrats like myself, well, I'm just going to say this. You better come correct. Because we ain't going to stand for it in this country. If you make it out alive, you're going to prison. Just like all those so-called hostages up on Capitol Hill. Fuck them. They deserve to be in prison for the largest crime in American history, resulting in the largest number of prosecutions. I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all better come correct.
When I heard about this 7 years ago, that Eagle Pass would be recognized as the first point where you can see the eclipse. But now we're known as this point where a potential civil war might commence.
Why do I support Trump? 3 words: good at business.
A message from racists for Donald Trump.